Hola, YouTooSpainers! As you may have heard, the monthly Autonomo rates for self-employed people in Spain have changed at the beginning of 2023. So what are the new rates and how will the new system work? Are these social security payments going to be better for you, like the government suggests, or not? I'll be joined shortly on the virtual settee by the virtual pool by our very good friend Antonio the Gestor, who will be giving us an overview of the new system. Today's show was recorded a few days ago, so if you have any questions, put them in the YouTube comments below the video, not on the live chat or on some random Facebook group. That way, everyone will have access to all of the answers to all of the questions. It's much more helpful that way, and that's what YouTooSpain is all about. Now, gather round. It's time for our small but perfectly formed cosmic theme tune. Let's dance! Well, wasn't that groovy? Oh yeah. Before I bring in Antonio, let's hear about some of the very helpful services we have here at YouTooSpain, including resources and discounts just for you. First of all, there is our website, YouTooSpain.com, where you can find tons of information, blog articles and resources that you need for your move to Spain and for living here. There's a free newsletter every month that you can sign up for, and that will keep you up to date. We also have a Facebook page and a private Facebook group where you can chat with people just like you in between shows and videos. Now, all of this helpful information and fun that you get from YouTooSpain is absolutely free. It is. It's amazing. But if you appreciate the value of it to you, and I'm sure you do, you can make a donation via buymeacoffee.com/YouTube. That's TOO. There's a link to that below in the video description. If you can't find the video description, just look for the name of the video underneath the screen here, and then go to the end of that where it says read more. Click on that. You can also be a patron of YouTooSpain and get extra stuff like behind the scenes videos and more. And would you like discounts on some of the vital services that you need? Yes, of course you would. Well, we have that for you too. They're all tried and tested, friendly companies that support us every time you use the links. It doesn't cost you a penny. As always, I am going to give you the best advice I ever learned, and that is to get your currency sorted out well in advance. With that in mind, there's a link below to get a free account with Smart Currency Exchange, so you can speak to my favourite advisor for free. And when you do that, do ask them about fixing a forward exchange rate. It's a magical thing, because whether you're buying a house or moving here or sending your pension or investment money or even just paying your utility bills, yes, they can do all of that for you, even if you don't have a Spanish bank account. There's another saving for you, quite a lot of saving per month there. And they can do it at the same exchange rate for a whole year or even longer, so that you're not at the whim of the exchange rates. Whim, there's a good word for you. It costs nothing to set up an account and just have a chat to them. Take my advice, you won't regret it. It's a win-win-win-win-win-win-win-win with a cherry on top. So without further ado, let's meet our very good friend Antonio from Gestoria Lezana. Hola, Antonio.
Hello, Skatz. Nice to see you again.
Nice to see you too. Welcome back to the show. Let's get straight on with today's topic. A new Autonomo payment system for self-employed people that started at the beginning of 2023. First of all, just tell us very quickly, what is Autonomo and what are these payments for?
I'm going to try to explain the figure of Autonomo, which is only the word we use in Spain for those that are self-employed and have to contribute to the system as this type of business. So the Autonomo, we can say that is the tax and social security system for self-employed workers in Spain. That's it, okay? You join the system if you are, for example, a sole trader or a freelance consultant or a small or medium-sized company, which is not registered as a limited company, as a sociedad limitada in Spain. So the Spanish authorities require such business entrepreneur to register and pay taxes as well as charge VAT, IVA, to their customer. Normally, I mean, most businesses, regardless of their level of income, are compelled to charge VAT in Spain. Although there are some exceptions for doctors, for example, and some teaching activities, but most of the activity are subject to VAT. And there is no threshold for that. There is no limit, as for example it is in the UK, which is normally £85,000 per year, I think, or something like that. In Spain, even from €1, you are subject to VAT if you are developing an activity which is subject to VAT.
That is a big thing, a big difference. And the same in Ireland as well. I've never paid VAT before because I'd never reached that limit, but over here, right from day one.
From the first euro, you have to apply the VAT in Spain.
Yeah, so basically my next question was going to be who should be registered as self-employed. I think you've covered that. It's the smaller businesses that aren't a limited company.
Yeah, the rules in Spain regarding the autonomous status are quite strict in the way that you can be accepted to your register if you develop an activity only sometimes during the year, but not like an activity continuously done, and you have at the same time you have a very, very low income. But if your activity is being delivered during a longer time of year, say more than 2 or 3 months per year, legally you are supposed to register. So, for example, bar owners, people working as AT or engineer consultants, English teachers, or anyone running their own small business that invoice clients or customers are all responsible for registering themselves as autonomous. Where your earnings are more sporadic and you are not actually earning a proper living, then there are some exceptions, but this is actually quite complicated and each case needs to be studied specifically to make a decision about if you need to register or not.
So are there different kinds of autonomo? Which types of autonomo exist?
Well, there are mainly 2 kinds. Usual kind is for sole traders or freelancer, as we were talking about. These are autonomo persona física, is the name. Are individuals that becomes autonomo because they are developing an activity as self-employed. And then beside this type, there is another type which is called autónomos societarios, which are those running commercial and trading businesses, and they are being the administrator of this limited company, and they have to pay a quote as an autonomo, but they are developing the activity through an SL, through a limited company, not by themselves. Then there are sub-classification of autonomo within these 2 broad categories, depending on the line of businesses that you are in or your professional activity.
Great. So what are the advantages of being autonomo?
Well, being registered, at the first time, avoiding thinking on the advantages is a legal requirement, as we talked before. But beside that, we can think on the few benefits or advantages on doing that, which is that allows you to carry out your profession and run it legally, your business, as if it were a company, but at a much lower cost and with a lot less administration. You can invoice your customers legally, you can offset business costs, you can set up accounts with supplier, etc., employ people, much the same as you can do with a company with less administration requirements. It's really quick, low cost to get a business started and trade legally through the figure of autonomo. Also, the documentation and steps are not easy for an individual. Any gestor will be able to do the registration without making any mistake for a not very high cost, which in my opinion worth it, because it's a very little mistake on the setup forms could easily become a costly mistake when the tax office realized. We advise to go to a professional to do the registration and avoid any problem with the difficult Spanish red tape,
Yes. So is it a lot to do with setting up codes? I remember when you set mine up that we talked a lot about the codes.
The thing is that the forms are not very long to fill, but there are a lot of things to mark on it, and a mistake on a little part of the form which could have implication that you are not, if you are not a professional, you can't understand the implication of mark this or not mark this that box, So and beside that, you have to find the right activity or activity codes. It could be one or more. You can register in a few activities if you are developing different things. And a usual mistake is that people register only in one code and forget to register in second or third code if they have complementary activities, which is something usual with the new professions that we have on the internet, for example.
Yeah. So how do you register as Autonomo?
Well, if you want to know a little bit how it works, there are two parts of the process to register as an Autonomo. Firstly, you register with the tax office, the Agencia Tributaria, and secondly, you join the Autonomo Social Security System, which is called the Régimen Especial de Trabajadores Autónomos, or RETA is the short name for it. For the Autonomo registration, you need an NI number, a national insurance number for Spain, which is called Número de Afiliación, and you need a Spanish bank account as well to address the payment of the Social Security contributions. If you are from outside the European Union, you will also need a work permit, which after Brexit includes the UK, of course. So in order to join the Autonomous Social Security System, you will need to be registered in the Social Security System already, but this registration process is also straightforward, So for a gestor, is something that normally can be managed within 2-3 days. It's possible to finish all the process.
That's great. How do the Autonomo Social Security contributions work then?
Once you are registered for the purposes of tax and VAT, you need to register for Social Security purposes. So the Spanish Social Security system is very much like the national insurance system in the UK in some way. Unless you make the necessary payments, you will not be eligible to access the public health facilities, receive a pension or a sick pay or paid maternity leave, for example, and you will also be breaking the law if you are not registered anyways, if you develop an activity and you are not under the system. So you will need to fill in another form declaring that declaring which specifically is your activity, as we were talking before, and this is because different categories of employment trigger different Social Security payments, because it depends on the risk of the activity that you are developing. So this is another reason to make the registration being sure that you are choosing the right activity code. Because if your activity is more dangerous than another that you choose, and you, for example, have an accident, the coverage of this accident you can be in trouble with the Social Security to get the coverage if you are not in the right place,
Okay. Is my business quite high risk?
No, your activity is in the lowest,
Okay. Yeah.
When you are, higher risk, when you are electrician, builder, these kind of things, And then this type of workers, it depends if they do or not some specific jobs of, for example, trabajos verticales, if they have to clean buildings to do their jobs, for example, or depending the type of machines that they need to use, the tools that they need to use in their job, these kind of things,
So how easy or hard is it to deregister your business being Autonomo compared to if you're a limited company?
Well, the good news is that if you do an app having or to win up your business, or you will give up give up in the activity, the Autonomo registration is quite simple to deregister. Your gestor will need to submit a form to the tax office and another one to the Social Security office, but there are simple forms that can be normally done within 1 day, and you will be automatically deregistered, and you will stop paying Social Security office. They will calc exactly for the day that you stopped. You won't need to pay the whole month, which was the old system a few years ago. The Social Security office changed that, and now you pay only until the day that you are registered. And you can actually register and deregister up to 3 times every year. So if you have an activity that you work a few months, then you stop, then you stop 2 months or 3 months, and then you restart or something like that. We have a lot of clients with this situation. You don't need to be registered all the time. Because the stop is easy and the registration again is easier than the first one, because now the gestor will have the information and the activity codes, etc. So it's just making the application again, but they will have all the information, and it's just a matter of sending it again to the tax office and the Social Security office. So it's something quick to register again as well. Besides that, a limited company is much more complicated. A limited company needs to put up to date all the accounting books of the limited company, not having any debt, not having any problem on the accounts. So it's really hard to close it. And because of that, there are a lot of limited companies in Spain, sociedades limitadas, that are dormant, are without developing an activity, but are not closed because it's really difficult to close them.
Right then, well, that's covered the background about what Autonomo is, so let's move on to the new system. We're going to keep this as uncomplicated as possible so we don't get too bogged down by all of the details. So tell us in a nutshell what's changed and how it will affect us.
Okay, well, firstly, we should talk about, to explain how affects the changes. It's better to understand how the new freelance quote is calculated. The new system is based on the net income that the Autonomo is going to have or is having. So before, the contribution that the Autonomo pays, it was something that each Autonomo could choose. And now you can't choose. It depends of your net income. So it's a huge difference on the system. Before, you could be, during your whole activity, your whole life as self-employed, paying the minimal, even having 100,000 euros of income per year or per month or whatever. If you would prefer to stay in the minimal, you could stay in the minimal. Now you can't do that. In the opposite way, before, with the old system, if you would like to pay more, the Social Security office didn't care about how much income do you have. If you want to pay more, you just needed to change it, start paying more, and you will have a better coverage. Now you can't do that as well. Those that choose a higher Social Security contributions before the new law was put in place, the Social Security office is going to respect the base of calculation that they had, while they don't do any change on the step that they are. But for those that are new in the system or want to increase the Social Security contribution that they pay, thinking this is something usual when people are near to the retirement age, to increase the future in the future the pension. This is something that now is not possible to do it if you don't have a higher net income. So the net income, we would like to clarify that is the gross income minus the expenses and taxes. Okay, including on that expenses the Social Security contribution as well. Okay. So based on that amount, we will need to calculate how much you have to pay each month.
How do we know how much to pay each month then as a freelancer?
Well, one of the key advantages of the old system was that you never had to worry about the payment because they were the same the whole year. But now with the new changes, the freelance quotas, freelance quotes may vary during the year. So there is a table that I think you have around there. Okay. Here we have a comparison. On the left column, we have the steps on the net profit for each person. So up to 670. This is the minimal step. The quote is 230. No, I think I can read it very well. Sorry.
Yep.
230, and the difference comparing with the old system is 64 euros cheaper. It's not a big difference, as you can see.
Yep.
Then there are other steps from 670 to up to 900, which is 34 euros less than the old system. And as you can see on the screen, the next one is 19 euros. And if you go a little bit up above 1,300 euros, is exactly the same. The quote will be 294, which is the quote that we have ending 2022. And it will be the same up to 1,700 euros. And I think actually, if you go a little bit more, scroll down, up to 1,700 euros is the same, and then is starting increasing a little bit. Is 310 above 1,700 euros, so it's 15 euros more only. So as you can see, if we go to the last few ones, the one up to, that's it, you can see there. For example, the maximum one is more than 6,000 net profit or net income per month will be 500 euros, which is 122 euros more, but this is the maximum, okay? An average of those that are, for example, around 2,000 or 2,500, if you go a little bit, scroll up, we could check that there is a difference between the old system, but for example, up to 2,330, no? It's only 26 euros more. Not a big difference, but the base of calculation for example, for calculating the pension in the future is a big difference. When you have a base of calculation of 2,000 or a little bit more than 2,000, than having 700 or whatever, you know. If you are on the medium steps, the new system is not too bad in the way that you are going to pay a little bit more, but not very much more. People are maybe not very happy in the way that for those that are earning, that are in the lowest level, earning maybe 600 euros, most self-employed are thinking that paying 230 is still too much. Because it's 1/3 of their net income, you know. So this is the bad point of the new law that is good for those that are maybe above 1,500 euros or 2,000 per month, because you're going to pay only a little bit more for having a better coverage, but it's not too good maybe yet for those that are in the lowest step of income. This is going to change more. This is the calculation for 2023. In the next few years, it's going to change a little bit more. So, for example, in real term, people that are earning less than 670 euros per month in the year 2025 will save around 1,100 euros per year. So the difference each month will be 94, almost 100 euros less.
Okay.
So this is going to be step by step being improved in the next few years, in 2024 and 2024 and 2025. Okay.
I see. Yeah. Is that going to affect people's pensions quite a lot?
Yeah, it's affecting the pension in the way that if you change the base of contribution, no doubt that this is affecting the calculation of the pension in the future. Yes, because of that, it's not too bad. The new system is not too bad for those that are on that medium levels of net incomes. Because only paying a little bit more, they will be well covered or better covered than before. But for those that are in the lower steps, it will be not. It will be a little bit better in 2 years. But in 2023, is not that good yet. It's better than last year, of course. Anyway,
Yeah. What happens if your income isn't very stable?
Yeah, well, the thing is that this is something usual, that there are autonomous that has more ups and downs than a mountain stage on the Tour de France. So
Yeah.
if you gain a new contract or drop a client, you can change your estimation very quickly. So the system permits that you change your estimation every 2 months. Okay, because there are actually 2 ways to pay your Social Security contribution in Spain. One way with the new system, I mean before with the old system up to 2022, you choose the base of your contribution and you pay depending on this base that you choose. That's it, and was not dependent on your income at all. Okay. Now you can choose between don't do anything and leave it as it is, which is the simpler way for now, and you will need to declare anything to the Social Security office, and the Social Security office is going to keep sending the same or very similar to the same quote that you were paying before, and by the end of the year they will check the information that the tax office has regarding your income, and then they will adapt. If you have paid more or less, they will do a regularization about that. But optionally, you can declare, you can tell to the Social Security office how much income you predict that you are going to have in the coming months. And they will be happy to apply the quote based on this, on your predictions. Okay. And you can change these predictions, with each 2 months. Actually, now there is a deadline we have May and April. We have a deadline on the 30th of April. Before the 30th of April, you can choose to change your step, and this will start being applying in May, in the quote of May 2023. So for example, for those that are in the lowest step, it's better to give this estimation, say, okay, I think I'm going to be below 670 euros of net income. So the Social Security office will start now to reduce the quote. Okay. If you haven't done that for January and February, it's not any problem. By the end of the year, the Social Security office will do a rebate for the excess that you paid.
Okay, just before the next question, here's a quick plug for you all. It's time for a quick plug. You need to chill out. Yeah, did you know you can get free yoga and meditation classes on my lovely wife Liz's YouTube channel? It's called U2 Yoga and Aromatherapy. Well, the link is in the video description below with all of the other ones. And if you're getting useful information from today's show, and I'm sure you are, do click on the like button now, and also subscribe and click on the bell if you haven't already. And of course, buy me a coffee or 3. Okay, we're back. So how will they know if I need to pay less or more?
Well, you will know it doing some, as we said, doing some estimations of your net income and declaring that to the Social Security office. The thing is that people could start trying to game the system a little bit, But this is something that is going to leave you wishing you hadn't, like sooner or later, because of course you can forecast a monthly income of 1,000 while you are pocketing 5,000, but you will have a fat bill to pay at the end of the year. So this is not going to be a good approach to take the new system. It's better that you try to adapt the contribution to the reality that you should pay as soon as possible to avoid having to pay a big tax bill or social security bill by the end of the year. This is because the Social Security Office and the tax agency, the Agencia Tributaria, talk to each other. Around January or February, they will send the information. January or February next year, 2024. They will share the information between each public statement, and they will take the balance of the book, and then you will face one of the following situations. One option could be that you have paid less than you should. So in that case, you will have 30 days to pay it without any penalties or punishment, but you will only have 30 days to pay the difference of the whole year. So if you are paying now the minimal, and you are maybe earning 5,000 per year, 5,000 per month or something like that, there is a big difference. So if you don't do anything now, you will find this social security bill to pay by the end of the year or by January or February next year, with only 30 days to pay. Okay? The second possibility would be that you pay more than you should. Well, this is not a big problem because the Social Security Office will repay you the difference, and they will do that automatically after they check that you didn't have enough income to pay that level of Social Security contributions. If you have paid more, and in 2022 you were already paying more than the minimum because you optionally choose to do that, you can stay on that preferred quote, as we talked before. They are going to respect that while you don't do any change on the contributions. But most people are in the minimal. Our statistic with our clients is that more than 90% of the self-employed are paying for the minimal. So there are not a lot of people that choose to pay more because there are not a lot of people trusting a lot on the system, So they prefer sometimes to invest their money in a private system of pension or something like that, which is something that you can control a little bit more than the government, You never know what is going to happen with the government rules in 20 years,
Yeah.
But contract with a private company, with an insurance company, for example, is something close. You have terms and conditions, and that's it.
So at the moment, I'm on the old system because I'm fairly new and I'm doing the flat discounted rate. Is that going to be the same for new freelancers in Spain on the new system?
It's going to keep being a system of a flat rate, but this is one of probably the worst point of the new law, because until 2022, the quote of new entrepreneur in Spain had always been a flat rate for everybody. However, there was also a nice incentive for newest who paid 60 euros per month for the first year, and then which gradually rose for the full amount. But during the second year, the quote is increased. I say is because those that are under the 2022 flat rate are maintaining the same condition. The new condition of the new flat rate is only for those that are registered after the 1st of January 2023. But for those like you, with the old system, you will keep maintaining the same situation. Nothing changed for you until the flat rate finished. Okay, but the new system, on the one hand, is not 60 euros per month; is 80 euros per month for the first 12 months. This is 20 euros more. It's not a big difference, but the big problem is that in the second year, you can extend the 80 euros monthly payment for another 12 months only if you are in the minimal state of wage. This is something that has been the societies of self-employed are very unhappy with that term, because it's actually it could have in the future a negative effect in how businesses are growing. Because if you grow the business, you, instead of having a benefit, you will lose the flat rate.
So it's a disincentive for growing your business. Yeah,
exactly. So it's something that, in my opinion, it doesn't make sense in the situation that we have now, with the kind of crisis, economical crisis after the pandemic, etc. The economic situation is not very well for new businesses. So the government should try to improve measures to encourage people to open businesses and grow the businesses. Not to open businesses and say, well, for the second year, if I don't grow too much, maybe it's better for me, So
okay. So my final question, it was going to be about key incentives. That's one that's been removed. What are the other key incentives that have been removed?
For example, in Andalusia, for the second year, for the last few years, we have had help for not for all the entrepreneurs, but a lot of people got help from the Junta de Andalucía to help them to pay the difference of the second year, the increase of the second year. This is something that is supposed to be maintained, but probably is not going to be maintained if you lose the flat rate. So if you lose the flat rate in the second year, you will probably lose the flat rate, and at the same time, you will lose the right of getting this help from the Junta de Andalucía. So the difference will be quite important.
Right. So anything else you want to say before I round up for the day?
Nothing else, only that if we have missed something that your audience think that is important, we'll be more than happy to clarify any question or doubts in another session or in any other way.
Brilliant. So, my lovely watchers, if you have any questions or observations, put them in the YouTube comments below, and we'll get to them and answer them as soon as we can, or arrange another video with Antonio, or I'll just put you directly in touch with him, because we do have a link on our website partner directory which sends him a message directly. And in a moment I'll tell you what's on the show next week, but before that, let's say a massive thank you to Antonio and give him a big virtual hug for being very helpful as usual. So we'll see you again very soon, Antonio. Goodbye for now.
Same for you. Thank you very much for the invitation.
You're very welcome. Bye for now. Well, wasn't that lovely? Don't forget to click on the like button and subscribe if you haven't already, so you'll be the first to know what's coming up each week on the live shows and the midweek videos. Now, next Saturday, we have a little change in the schedule. I'm going to be speaking to a lawyer down here in Andalusia all about getting tourist licenses for B&Bs and holiday properties. Lots of useful information for you there. You can ask questions in advance about that and other related matters on our Facebook group, so get your thinking caps on. And looking a little bit further ahead, don't miss 3 weeks in a row with Chris from Upsticks.es, including a special show for Semana Santa. That's Easter week, in case you didn't know. We'll be doing something very, very special that week. And until then, see you next Saturday morning at our regular time of 9 o'clock if you're in the UK or Ireland or the Canaries, or 10 o'clock if you're in Spain or Central Europe. That's all for this week. Someone pass around the Autonomo cookies. Peace and love to you all. Oh, one more little cosmic theme dance. Come on, everybody, join me. Bye.